What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to Late Hoops. Today's video, we're going to be just giving some flowers to some NBA moments and NBA players that I think are not talked about enough. There's a little bit of a dry spell as we wait for Thursday for the season to kick back off. I was going to make a video discussing All-Star Weekend and the All-Star Game, but the overall consensus seems to be the same, that the game was pretty mid, and the weekend, other than Mac McClung balling out, shout out to you, Mac McClung. I loved watching you in the dunk contest, and Trey Murphy had some pretty good dunks as well. Other than that, the All-Star Weekend was pretty mid, and I feel like we can all agree on that. Also, they gave a lot of flowers to Karl Malone this weekend, and a lot of people are not too excited about that in particular. But before we get into this video, guys, I just want to say we're so close to hitting 700 subscribers, and we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So if you are new here and want to support the channel, please be sure to hit that sub button. Without further ado, let's get started with the first of these three topics. We're going to be talking about Kobe Bryant tearing his ACL and hitting both free throws in the midst of a must-win game during a very, very underrated longevity MVP season. I understand that was a lot, but let me just break it down. So most of you know this moment. Most of you know Kobe wincing and limping to the line and cold-blooded killer knocking down 2 free throws back to back, and then going to taking a seat in the bench on the 80th game of the season and what was a must-win where Kobe hit the floor twice against the Warriors, and he was just killing himself out on the court. Most of you know that moment, and most of you love that moment, but what I'm here to talk about really quickly is just the whole entire season in general. Kobe was 34 that year, and he was averaging 27 points, 5.5 assists, and 6 rebounds a night, shooting 46 from the field, and playing 38 minutes a night, guys. 38 minutes a night, and 78 games played the entire season out of 82. The only 2 games he missed were with a severe ankle sprain. If you're squeamish, don't look. I'm about to put a pick up right now. And he actually tried to play on that golf ball looking ankle, believe it or not, literally one day after it happened versus the Pacers, but he only played 12 minutes, showing that he was human after all. He had to go to the locker room and ended up missing the rest of that game and then 2 games, and then instantly played again. To me, that's just remarkable. Aside from that, he was a top 3 scorer that year. He actually scored the 2nd most points, but as far as points per game go, he was a top 3 scorer, number 3 behind Carmelo Anthony and a very young and talented Kevin Durant. Kobe was one of 5 players in the NBA that season who played 3,000 minutes or more, and was the only person above the age of 30 to rank in the top 30 for minutes played that season. The closest was Joe Johnson when he was 31 years old, and he only played 2,600 minutes that season. Kobe sacrificed the later years of his career for this season, and he was never the same after that ACL tear, but he somehow managed to lead the Lakers to the 7th seed out west with a record of 45-37. It was truly, truly remarkable. Kobe just displayed a tremendous amount of grit and leadership and toughness. Dwight Howard was out most of that year. Steve Nash was out most of that year. Pau Gasol was out most of that year. This was supposed to be the year where Kobe got to take a back seat, and the Lakers were supposed to be a super team, and they were supposed to dominate the entire NBA. Kobe had to go out there and play with guys like Steve Blake and Earl Clark and Chris Dubon and Jody Meeks and Darius Morris. Like, those were his starting teammates on most of those nights. The fact that he played as many games as he did and boasted great efficiency and great stats, if he was a higher seed, he probably would have won MVP that year. I just feel like this is a season that's greatly forgotten about. As Kobe's one of my favorite players of all time, I just had to put some respect on that season, because like I said at the beginning of this video, a lot of you guys know that moment, but you don't know the rest of the season. Very impressive. On to the next one. We're going to talk about one performance in specific. Derrick Rose dropping a 50 piece on Halloween. Super expected, super exciting, just an absolute thrill to watch. Jeff Teague, Jimmy Butler, and Tyus Jones were all out that night due to injury, which means Derrick Rose got the nod at the starting role. The Wolves, they hosted a home game on Halloween night, and they win behind Derrick Rose's amazing 50-point performance, and he also had the game-winning free throws and game-winning block. It was truly an amazing night. It's kind of a joke. We joke about it these days that the leagues are scripted. You couldn't have written a better script for this.
on Halloween night, Derrick Rose turns back the clock. He really did show he has a lot left in the tank, and he had some successful seasons after that. Even still today, I wish he wasn't rotting away under Coach Thibs in New York, because I think he could be giving good minutes to a team like the Bucks, or it used to be the Nets, or even the Clippers. Like, I don't know, guys. He was just firing on all cylinders that night. If you have not, for some reason, seen his performance, I would go back and watch it. He was just taking 3-time Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert to work each and every time he drove to the basket. There was really no stopping him. All the energy in that building that night was gravitating towards Derrick and the Wolves. This is one game I'll never forget watching live as a Derrick Rose fan. You can just see in the header of my late to hoops header for YouTube banner, Derrick's in there for a reason, and so is Kobe Bryant, and so is the next person that we're going to be talking about, which is Brandon Roy. The third and final person we're going to be talking about, again pretty quickly, is Brandon Roy. The reason I'm going kind of so fast on these is just because most of you guys, or at least I would hope some of you guys, know these moments, but I'm just trying to bring a little light to those who don't know these moments. Those of you who don't know, the Portland Trail Blazers were down 23 points at one point in this game, and they were down 2-1 in this series. It's a must-win game at home against Dirk Nowitzki and the defending champions. They rally back behind Brandon Roy's 18 fourth quarter points, and Brandon gets the game-winning bucket and game-winning defensive stop on Jason Terry, and he had a remarkable 4-point play with 90 seconds left in that game to tie it. He really took the life out of the Mavericks that game. This was just one of the most exciting games for a Portland Trail Blazers fan. Before Damian Lillard, before CJ McCollum, guys, there was Brandon Roy, and Brandon Roy, he has a soft spot in my heart. I mean, he is just one of the most electric players the game has ever seen, but he also has one of the most short-lived primes that we have ever seen. In today's NBA, we see tons and tons and tons of what-ifs, but before we had those what-ifs, there was once upon a time, what if Brandon Roy, Greg Odom, and LaMarcus Aldridge got to play together? In the games that they played together, they boast a crazy impressive record. In the games that they've played together, they have a 50-12 record. Brandon Roy, again, I can't make this stuff up, guys. I really wish he didn't have this bad knees, him and Derrick Rose both. But what do you guys think? Which one of these moments, or for Kobe, his season, was the most underrated? I know some of these moments, like Derrick Rose's, was in the regular season, so it didn't have, that crazy feeling. Obviously, it did for Derrick Rose fans and Chicago Bulls fans. And then Brandon Roy's was in the playoffs, so it was a little more intense. And Kobe's was kind of over an entire season, but it was a season that was primarily forgotten about. But like I said, what do you guys think? Which one of these players is the most impressive to you? Obviously, the easy answer is probably Kobe Bryant, but let me know in the comments below. If you guys made it this far, I appreciate your support as always. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.